Hi, I'm Christian Schoyen. I'm the host of Hometown Heroes. Come and join me to get to know our local heroes and find out why they do what they do and what we can learn from them.
Our next recipient of the Medal of Valor served a tour in the Middle East last year in the Army's 364th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. It was April 19, 2011, when he had a battle on his hands in the streets of Las Vegas. Without hesitation, Officer Patrick Burke exposed himself to gunfire as he tried to protect his partner and the public.
Hi, I'm Patrick Burke, and you're watching my story on Hometown Heroes.
Thank you so much for being a guest here at Hometown Heroes today, Patrick Burke. And we invited you because we wanted to hear more about your inspirational background and why you do what you do, and also the amazing contribution you have made here in Las Vegas to make a safer environment for everyone living here. So, were you born here in Las Vegas?
I was originally born in Minnesota. I moved here in '79 and went to junior high and high school here, and basically have been here ever since, minus the 4 years I was away in the military.
In regards to upbringing, do you come from a small or large family?
Small. I have one sibling, a sister, mom and dad. My dad's passed away, and my mom's remarried since then, but I would say it's small.
Was it certain core traits, values that were passed on to you?
I would say so. My mom's never not worked a day in her life. She's a polio survivor. So she contracted polio up in Minnesota back in the very late 40s, early 50s. And she's never not worked, never not strived to do better. She's physically disabled, but only until probably, I would say, the last couple of years is when she finally got a handicap placard, because she physically just couldn't walk the way she used to be able to. So yeah, I would say definitely from my mom for sure. My dad, he's was a former soldier, worked in the military, was like a PA, a physician assistant for the ophthalmic Dr. Schoyen here in town before he retired. And everything was from him and my mom, just definitely one of those things where they're always, they never accepted less. And they always expected me to do the best I could.
So it was the discipline very much that came from home, and that you were always, like you mentioned, supposed to do your best.
Discipline, but tempered with a lot of good humor. And my mom and dad, like I said, we didn't have a lot growing up. We grew up on the east side of town, or I grew up on the east side of town, where it's definitely a little bit different now. I would say it's very ethnically diverse. And it was then when I was growing up. And it's definitely a place where there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of economic challenges and such. Didn't have a lot when I was growing up, but at the same time, this is home.
Some people might go in the direction of thinking about just me. You chose the opposite, and you committed yourself to a life where you're serving others, not yourself. That way of thinking, is that something that was passed on to you from home?
I would say so. We always try to do the better for ourselves and for anyone around us. You know, stop and help it's kind of cliche, but help the little lady across the street, or the little old man, the child, whatever else. Community pride, I guess, would be a good way. Always taking care of those, yourself, your neighbors, and everyone around you.
Was it any particular incident when you grew up that impacted you?
My sister used to get in a lot of trouble, and she was younger. So I'd say that my mother always gave me guidance and direction to help my sister out. So there were some incidences where I'd have to, we were talking about it the other day, go and get my sister's bike back when she was younger. And it's like, you know, from the neighborhood bully, I'd go down there and, you know, just get the bike. I wouldn't get in a fight or anything else, but just go and get the bike back and tell them not to do it again. And for the most part, they listened. And it was something like that, I guess, that probably started it. But the biggest thing was, I think we're all born with inherent right or wrong, and we know what's right and wrong. And as a young man, growing into adulthood, my parents couldn't afford college, so I went to the military, like a lot of young men do, a lot of young women do. And going to the military gave me definitely, we didn't have a lot growing up, but going overseas and seeing places that had even less than what we did gave me a great appreciation for Las Vegas and for where we're at now. So I would say doing something like that definitely helped, and that probably molded me more than anything.
Did you have any role models when you grew up?
Very much so. Yeah, that would. I would say my mom was probably instrumental, because she always walked with a limp, and when she finally accepted a handicap placard at 60 plus years old, you'd see people parking handicap spots that have, from the outward perspective, really no business. And seeing her do what she does on a day-to-day basis, never missing work, never calling in sick, always taken care of. She did what a mother, I guess, would do or should do, always taking care of her family. And like I said, being a product of that, being a police officer, seeing people, there's very few excuses that I'll accept. And I guess going from there would be always tethered with a good sense of compassion. I don't know, because my mom was stern, but she was very loving and very compassionate, but there was right and wrong, and she definitely let you know what side of the street you should be on.
Do you have a role model today?
We recently lost an officer, David Van Buskirk. He was in search and rescue. I worked with him on the firearms range and everything else, and everything that they've said about him in the newspaper is 100% accurate. The only thing I could say is that if I could be like anybody, I would like to be like Officer Van Buskirk, because he made doing right every day his mission. He did everything to do better for the community and everything else, and he paid the final price. He paid the ultimate price. He gave his life for another man.
You stand up for what is right, and is that something that is a part of you?
Personally, yes, and with the police department and vast majority of the police officers, it's the same way. They just they stand up for what's right, and that's what's important.
You have received one of the highest recognitions in the United States, the Medal of Valor, for your bravery here in Las Vegas. And in regards to 2011, it was an incident where you put your life on the line for people that you did not know, to save families, children, and that takes a lot of heroism. In regards to that incident, would you do it all over again? Yeah,
I would say I would do it again. Myself and a majority of officers would have done the same thing. Not to belittle what I did, but at the same time, it's training, it's experience, and it's doing why we became police officers in the first place. Stand up for what's right. As police officers, we get the good fortune to do it every day.
So after you stood up and you saved a large number of people here in the community by putting your own life on the line, you went to serve basically America in the Middle East.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, you didn't have the opportunity to actually receive your award. You did that later.
Awards can always come later. We're judged on the actions of the moment, and it's always nice to get recognized for things, but it's not why we do things.
Do you feel that you could walk away from what you're doing right now, meaning serving the public, serving something greater than self?
No, this is it. I've always wanted to be a cop, and this is what I'm doing. I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
When did you decide to be a policeman?
After I got out of the military, back in '87, it's something that I've always wanted to do, helping people. I used to tell my trainees, was a FTO, we're not gonna stop crime. We're not going to solve the world's problems. But what we are gonna do is, for that moment in time that we're at that intersection, in a black and white, in uniform, the little old lady, the young girl, the young man, the people that are going about their daily life can walk across that intersection, go into that store, and have no fear that they can go about their business and not be prosecuted, not be attacked, not be victimized, I guess would be a better word, for that moment that we're there. And that's a good feeling.
And this is a part of basically your compassionate nature, because that is the key thing here. You care for you take responsibility for this community, and just like you also have done the same for your country as well by serving. So that's what you do, you serve something greater than yourself, and that is, would you say that's the driving force?
That, and most definitely. I have 3 daughters, 2 granddaughters and a grandson. They're all growing up here. And if we all take an active interest in this community, we make it a better place.
My name is Lieutenant John Pelletier. I've been with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for 14 years. I've had the pleasure of knowing Officer Pat Burke for the past 12 years. Pat has also served with distinction with the United States Armed Forces when he's been deployed overseas. Pat is a Area Command Intelligence Officer, and what that means is Pat collects information throughout the entire Area Command and gets it to officers so that they can go ahead and use that as actionable intelligence to help fight crime. What's very unique with our Area Command is that the officers truly respect Pat. They look at Pat as a role model, and so when Pat's telling them about crime trends and patterns, they look at him as not just somebody that's cramming information down them. They look at him as a warrior and a hero that's actually providing that information to them. And they look at it and they say, you know what, because it's Pat telling us this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go out there and we're going to affect change to the best that we can. Officers do this job so that people can sleep safely at night in their beds. Good men are called upon to do a great many things so that evil cannot exist. And it's the acts of those good men that make sure that this community can be the safest in America. And we at Metro are truly proud to have Pat Burke within our ranks.
Has it been a specific incident as a police officer where you saw something or experienced something that really touched your heart?
Every day when I was working patrol, that we would have an opportunity to help somebody out, be it with a flat tire, getting them out of the intersection, just giving directions and making sure they got to where they need to be.
So the reward is helping others?
Yes, I would say so. Working the area that I work in is not, it's not the most, it's very ethnically diverse. It's lower income for the most part. We've got some pockets of higher income homes and such, but for the most part, it's lower income people. And in the communities, there's 90% of people that are just trying to live, just trying to get by. They go to work, they get up, they do everything on a day-to-day basis, and there's a small portion of that population that are troublemakers. And when I can take that part out of the equation and those kids can go to school, that mom can go to work, that dad can go to work and take care of business for their family, it's a good day. And that's really, I think, what, not just myself, but every officer that I work with feels the same way, is that they get that opportunity to make that immediate change for that neighborhood.
Do you have any advice to Las Vegas?
If you see somebody that needs help, help them. If it's nothing more than extending your arm to that elderly person going across the street or not honking at them, take a few seconds and think and smile. Smile at people. What kind of legacy would you like to leave behind? I'd want to be remembered as a, again, good father, good husband, but definitely a person that's made a difference in my community. Thank you so much for being a guest here at Hometown Heroes, and also thank you for being such a great inspiration, role model to the community of Las Vegas. Thank you.
Officer Patrick Burke, we proudly present you with the Medal of Valor.
If we all take an active interest in this community, we make it a better place.
Thank you for joining us. If you are a local hero or you know someone who is, please contact us. See you next week.